Hello everybody, this is the much requested basic stamping video. I've been asked over and over to do this, so today is the day. I've started off with a really pale nude colour on my nails, so it's nothing that's distracting. You'll be able to see everything that I'm stamping, etc, etc. It is this one, Dockside Diva from IBD, that I got from the lovely Kylie. It's beautiful, don't you think? Okay, basics of stamping. The first thing I would say is after you've done your gel colour or your normal polish colour, put a top coat on. Now it doesn't matter if it's a gel top coat or something like Seche Vite. It doesn't matter. Put a top coat on top of your colour so that if you make a mistake with your stamping, you can quickly take it off and it's not going to affect your colour. And you can start over when you mess up, because you will mess up, everybody does. So at some point you will mess up. Okay, stamping plates. It's pretty well documented that my favourite is Dixie plates. Now I've picked this one because it's got some really intimate patterns, it's got some negative space, and it's got some really thin lines as well. And these are things you've got to consider when you're stamping. And I've never used this one. This is a cheap one from eBay. I think it's a knockoff for somebody else's plate actually, now that I think about it. But it's a cheap one from eBay. I've had it for about a year or so and I've never used it. So we're going to try this one as well, because sometimes the cheaper plates aren't as well etched, and that's something to look for on a plate when you get it. If you drag your nail across it, if you can hear it, that's good. A deeper etched plate isn't always good for beginners because sometimes it's hard to pick up. So it's trying to find a happy medium that you can work with while you're learning. So when you're going to remove the blue film, that is a basic, because you'd be shocked at the amount of people that forget to do it and then wonder why their stamping isn't picking up. So grab it at the corner somewhere, and always, it doesn't matter what plate, if it's cheap, round, square, rectangle, doesn't matter, hold it while you pull the film off it so it doesn't get bent, because if it gets bent you'll really struggle to pick up and use the images. So I always like to give my plates a clean with acetone and a wipe with kitchen roll before I use them if they're brand new. I prefer to clean my plates before I put them away, so they're usually clean for me starting. Sorry, I'm getting enough of tiz here. Yeah, and give them a wee wipe with kitchen paper. That takes the oils and any glue that's left over, takes it off the plate. So let's start with the plate that I know is going to work. As I say, I clean my plates before I put them away, so it's not too bad, it just needs a wee quick going over. So that brings us on to stampers. There's different kinds of stampers. My favourite is the clear jelly type stampers. Mine's is from Born Pretty. This is my favourite stamper here. I love this one. You get all different holders. That was just the Christmas one for last year. They're squishy, sticky heads. Well, this one is. And you can see through to see what you're stamping. When you pick up your image, you can see where it's going. So if you want to layer any designs, or if you want it in a specific place, that's why I like these ones. We're totally spoilt with these, because if you go back to something like this, which is from Moyun, it's a good stamper. Again, it's a sticky, but it's firmer. It's a good stamper, but you can't see where you're stamping, so it'd be good for a design something like this, where you don't have to worry about where it's going if you're just stamping a full image on the nail. These stampers are great. Also on the other end you've got a tiny, now this is a soft, a squishy, sticky, tiny stamper, which is great for picking up select images. If I just wanted this flower here, I could just roll that there and pick it up. But these ones don't always pick up as well. However, they do if you get the right combination, but it's the same with any stamping. I've also got this one. This is the Creative Shop stamper. When this first came out, everybody went crazy for it, and it constantly went out of stock. And people, myself included, were buying 4 and 5 at a time when they came back into stock. And then the fever for it just seemed to die down. I do like it. It's a good stamper. I don't think there's anything that this hasn't picked up. So that'll be a good one to try on the the cheapo plate. But no, I don't use that anymore. I keep it because I know it's a good stamper and it's always a fallback if I can't get another one to work. This one, it's another Born Pretty one, another clear one. Well, it's clear apart from the fact that the stamper head's needing replaced. But again, it's a shorter distance, so when you pick up, you don't have as much to look through to see what you're stamping. So I like that one as well. But I find because I have bother with my hands, I find it could be quite a strain to hold it because it's so small and you don't have a lot to grip. So I prefer the other Born Pretty one. This I have had for years. It still works perfectly as far as I know. This, I'm sure it's Messy Mansion. Positive it is. This is a firm and it's not sticky, it's just a firm stamper head. I do like it, I just don't use it very often, as I say, because I like the clear ones. But they're an option and they do work. And then we've got scrapers. Excuse me. This is a firm scraper. This is the one that comes, this is actually a wee kit from Moyu. I can't remember how much this was, but I'll try and remember to link it below. So you get the stamper and the scraper in this wee bag. Now it's a firm scraper, and I don't really go on with firm scrapers, but sometimes they're good to have if your flexible scraper isn't managing to scrape enough for you to pick up a certain image. That's why it's good to have a variety. But my favourite is this. It's thin, it's bendy, it's flexible. You can see it's well used. I do have about 4 backups. I also have backups of these because I thought they were really cute and I bought a pack of them with all the 6 different ladies on them for the different categories. So I've got backups of them. But you can use them, do you know, if you have an old bank card or an old loyalty card, you can use them if they feel right for you. But I like the flexible ones. They are my favourites. What else? When you're scraping, if it's not picking up properly or it's missing part of the images, try scraping in a different direction. Try scraping 2 directions before you pick up, just to make sure that the polish is getting smeared everywhere you need it to.
Hello, this is Editing Faye. I just wanted to jump in. Usually the rule states scrape at a 45-degree angle, but I have to say, I don't always do that. I find my own angle and I scrape. If it works, I use it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the 45-degree angle.
Now, a lot of people, and it's a good tip, actually Glitter Shine Nails, she does it all the time we're stamping. She'll put a line of polish at the top and then a line across the middle as well, so that when she's scraping down she's not losing any and she's making sure that the whole image is getting covered. So that's a good thing to do. Sometimes I do, it depends on the image. What else? Yeah, if it's, see, like this is a pretty easy image to pick up, no problem at all. But this one, the lines are so thin. You need to be a bit quicker because the polish will dry quicker the thinner the lines. So this line here would dry quicker than this line here. So you have to be quick when you're stamping the thinner images. And the ones that have got a lot of detail, like, see this, see the lace? Normally I would just put a line of polish along the top and scrape it down or scrape it to the side. But when there's loads of tiny wee intimate images to pick up, I like to cover the whole image. And that usually makes sure that you're going to get all the tiny details. The other thing is your technique. And you're going to need to use different techniques for different plates, different stampers, and it's just going to be a case of playing around until you find what works. But some people roll, I usually roll, some people press, which I don't, because I tend to lose my stamper head. If I press, 9 times out of 10 my stamper head comes out and then I get frustrated. So I tend to roll, and I also roll it onto the nail if it's not an image that I'm looking to see where it goes. If it's one like this again, I'll just roll it on. But if it's one that I want to place and I want it a certain somewhere, like if it was this one and I wanted this blank space straight down the middle, I would want to look through it and then press it onto the nail so that I know it was going exactly where I wanted it. Does that make sense? Okay, I need a drink of coffee. Sorry. Can you hear Gigi in the background? Right, what else? I've got my notepad outside me just to remind me. Lint roller. This is a saviour for your stamper. When you get an image, I will be showing you, because obviously I'm going to stamp some images, but after you've stamped and put the image on your nail, you're going to have some left over, so rub it on a lint roller, or even take a piece of scotch tape or something like that and take it off. Never ever ever use acetone on your stampers. It doesn't matter what kind of stamper it is, do not use acetone, because it'll eventually erode and then you won't get an even pick up because there'll be dents and bumps in your stamper head. So never ever use that. You can wash these if they get too grubby. Do you know, if you've been touching them or if they get a bit greasy, you can wash them with dish soap and leave them to dry on a piece of paper towel, and then just roll them on the lint roller before you start to make sure you got all the wee bits off. So that is that. What else? Let me see. Yeah, when you're cleaning the plate, like most of us wear gel, so it's not as urgent. But if you're using normal polish on your nails and then you take a piece of cotton wool and try to scrub your plate, you're going to get the acetone on your nails and ruin your mani, which is a pain in the backside. So get a cotton claw of some sort. You do get specifically made cotton claws. I did have one, but I have no idea where it's went. So this is a strawberry huller. That's all it is. Picked it up off eBay or Amazon or something. And that's what I tend to use. But you can use a clothespin as well. Do you know, for your washing, for hanging out on the line? Use one of them, and just that way you can just do that, and you don't actually have to touch the acetone with your painted nails, therefore saving your money. When you're cleaning the plate, use acetone. I wouldn't recommend using normal nail polish remover, because 9 times out of 10 there's oils of some sort in them to protect your nails and give your skin some nourishment. So I wouldn't recommend them. I would recommend pure acetone and nothing else to clean your plates. What else? When you're going to stamp, especially with black polish, because it's a nightmare to clean up, I recommend liquid latex of some sort. If you're allergic to latex, you can get latex-free stuff, but it's not on your skin for any length of time. I'm allergic to latex, but it's not on any length of time, so it doesn't affect me, but it might affect you. So if you've got an allergy, just test a piece of skin first before you're going to put it on all your fingers. I would also recommend, if you're doing this, to stamp every second finger, not to do them all. Well, this is just me, because when I do it, I tend to touch them, and then the sticky latex touches each other and pulls it off the fingers. So I tend to do every second finger. Like I'll do these two first, and then I'll go into these ones and do my thumb separately, that kind of thing. But you also get, give me 2 seconds, I haven't brought them over. Oh, what you doing? You also get these, which you can place around your fingers, but these are throwaway, they're not reusable, so I tend to not use them. I will use them one day, I suppose. See, there's the instructions there. You put them round and fold them on your fingers so your finger's all covered, and then you just peel them off when you're finished. But as I say, they're not disposable, so it would work out quite expensive. So I just use that. But you can also use Elmer's glue, basic Elmer's glue. You can water it down a wee bit if you want to, but you can just paint Elmer's glue around your nail. And when I first started out, someone recommended to me wig glue, and I got some of that and it worked perfectly. And I just squeezed a wee bit out the bottle, ruined my nail, and I kept a specific brush for it and just patted it round so that it was covering where I needed it to cover, and that peeled off wonderfully. I didn't have any problems with that. When you're finished and your nails are looking lovely while you're stamping on it, float your first layer of top coat over. Do not press the brush to the nail or you'll smear what you've just done. So float your first coat of top coat over the nail. And then your second coat you could just apply as normal. There's loads of places now do a non-smear top coat for if you're using regular nail polish. I use this. I also use Séché Vite, which I actually prefer, but I use this, it If my Séché Vites went too thick and I don't have any Restore, I use this. So really any top coat would be fine, but you just need to put a thicker floaty layer on so that you don't disturb the stamping. And then we've got stamping polishes. My favourite is Born Pretty. If you find a decent polish that you like working with, that's in your budget, stick with it. When I first started, I loved Mundo de Uñas. That came from Brazil, but the prices were great. I think it was Brazil. I could be wrong. But the prices were fabulous, but the fumes from that brand of polish are ridiculous. Even with the window open, it is so strong, it's horrific. So these are pretty much scent free, unless you go right up to them and sniff them. I love these, I've got loads. But you can also use regular polish. I'm not going to show you all the ones I have, but a few that stamp really well is the Avon Metallics range. A lot of Avon other polishes stamp well. It's not just the metallic ones. I do have a few creams that stamp as well. This is L'Oreal, I think. Yeah, L'Oreal. And that stamps as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a thick polish, but if it's one that tends to be opaque with one coat, you should get away with it for stamping. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's trial and error, really. This is a collection one. I love this one. I don't know if you can see, it's got a slight sheen through it. So when you stamp it, it does pick it up in the images and it's lovely. This one's starting to go a bit thicker because I've had it so long, but it stamps really well, and I don't have a stamping polish this exact colour, so until I do, I'm keeping it. What else do I need to tell you about before we do the stamping? Nothing, I don't think. Okay, I'm going to get sorted and we will move on to the stamping. Okay, so this is one of my favourite images for using. I've used it loads. In fact, that whole top line I've used loads. But they're just great and so versatile. So we'll start with one of them. And I tend to put my stamping polish up the side. Just drag it down a wee bit. You don't need to cover the full image, as I say, unless it's got really intricate details on it. And I roll. And there we go. So then when you stamp, as you can see, you can get it round your fingers. Now, it's not as bad with other colours, but black is horrendous, so I will be putting something around my fingers before I stamp in black for you. Now, when you've got the bits left on the image, as I say, roll it, and it'll take it off, and you've got a nice clean stamper again. If you're anything like me, I constantly ruin. This was a brand new stamper head, and I've just dug my nail into this one as well. I do it with them all. I'm a nightmare. So let's try a normal polish with the same image. We'll clean it up first. A normal polish, I hate that word normal. A regular polish. So let's try the L'Oreal one. See how we go with that. You'll find your own way of scraping as well. The recommendation is to see, now that didn't work with that plate and that stamper, so let's try a different stamper. This one is not an image that you need to place somewhere specific, really, so you could get away with, say, the MoYou London one. Let's try that, see if that picks up. Some polishes and image just don't like the sticky clear stamper, but it could be the way I scraped it. Maybe just didn't manage to get the polish where it needed to be. And it worked with that one, no problem. But as I say, you can't see where you're stamping, so it's a case of just roll it on. You can sort of go like this and get right underneath it to see where you're stamping, but I tend not to use them for images that need to be placed, if that makes sense. That's a pain in the butt, it comes out constantly. So again, you just clean it the same way, roll it on your lint roller, and you're done. So that's one of the instances where you would maybe need to use a different stamper. Right, I'm going to put some latex round my finger and I will be back.
almost forgot to show this to you guys, so my apologies. What I'm going to do
I've
is
also got some tips for reverse stamping, but that's for another video. I'm trying to just cover the basics in this one.
on my nails,
So we'll cover reverse stamping in another video.
random spots. It doesn't really matter where I put them.
Okay, so that's drying.
You know, you might want
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Avon metallic one on my thumb. What will we use? See this one? When it's negative space, sometimes it can be hard to pick up. I am not brilliant at picking up negative space images. These cards just wipe with acetone as well. Just give them a wee wipe. Try not to have too much polish build up on the side of your scraper, or again you'll struggle to pick up. Yeah, the open images can be quite hard. I do struggle with them, so let's try one of those. And I know this polish stamps well, so let's give it a go. And if it doesn't work with this polish, we'll try a different polish and see how it works with that. Again, you might have to scrape a different way, because with the open images, you have to get the polish into the whole image. Oh, see, this is what I mean. This is why I don't do fingers close to each other. That's what I tend to do. Right, I'm going to try this with black polish instead. Maybe it's just the metallic one that doesn't like that. Let's clean this stamper off. In fact, I think I should maybe turn that cotton wool around. If you use the cotton balls, use both sides of them. Don't throw them away after just using one side. Okay, let's try again with black.
I had a little bit of an issue with the plate, but it was, I got stubborn and decided to
Try covering the whole image just to make sure we get it in all the grooves and the nooks and crannies.
not an issue because when I picked it up, you know, it was missing, but that's okay because I ended up putting that on my,
And there we go. That's much better.
so that spot wasn't even,
So with the negative space images,
looks pretty good.
when you're picking up, it's always the white. You see the difference in colours? You've got white and you've got the silver.
And again, I missed
It's always the white that you're picking up. The silver is what's going to be left behind. So when you've got, as you can see, the polish didn't, like it was covered. I don't know how to explain it. It was covered, but it didn't pick up the excess that wasn't part of the pattern. I'm not explaining that very well at all. I know what I mean, but I can't really get the words out. Or maybe see it better with the wee plate. So right, I'm going to clean this up and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got fresh cotton wool, smaller plate, the cheap plate, and we're going to see if this picks up and how well it picks up. Look at that perfect nail shape image. That in itself I find quite cool. I love stamping. I'm honestly fascinated by how it works. It's great. Right, okay. So, in fact, I'm going to take this latex off first because we don't need it anymore and it's just sticking to the other finger. So this just peels off. But you will have a wee bit left over sometimes to clean up, and we'll get round to that because I'll clean up all the nails eventually. Okay, so what are we going to use? The words, because there's tiny, tiny wee lines in there. So let's see if we can pick it up with our stamper. This is definitely a knockoff plate for somewhere, and I don't know where. I know I got this plate for eBay, but I don't know who they knocked it off from. Right, okay. It's not too bad, it could be worse. Yeah, that wasn't a very good stamp. So, let's take it off. And because you've got your top coat on, you could take it off and start again. So, what am I wanting to do here? I'm wanting to clean the stamper and I'm wanting to clean the plate. And let's try that with this stamper. Oops. I'm going to try the same image. See if it's better with a different stamper.
You just keep trying, keep plugging away, and there you go. Her eyes look okay. But away until you get it right. And you're trying
It's still a bit smeary and smudgy, so that's not ideal either.
going to do something to pick up that valuable. I was
So let's try one of the other images.
going with that, but I decided to take it as well.
We'll try this Gucci one down here.
I know it's a little difficult.
Wait till I get this off my nail.
Where I had the black originally, and I probably would have been better off putting a top coat on this.
Okay, let's try the Gucci one.
But you know, she's fuzzy. She's got the, I don't know what they call hairs. Bee hairs? I don't even know what they call. Let's Google that. But she turned out okay.
Yeah, that looks no too bad.
I liked her. I mean, I liked her well enough to take her picture, right? Oh my gosh.
That one picked up better.
This far, I really
So this one I'm going to have to play around with different stampers and polishes and scrapers, etc, etc, till I find a combination that works. Sometimes you won't find a combination that works. It's as simple as that. Some of the plates are just not etched well enough. It won't pick up whatever image you try. It just won't. So we're going to try one of the fuller images. Let's try this Louis Vuitton one here. And I'm going to try putting that on my thumb.
I wanted this crown
In fact, I'm going to use a different colour polish.
so it's kind of cute. Let's see, she's like
Because I don't have any liquid latex on that one.
that happened.
I'm going to link some really good stampers in the description. Go and check them out. This is the people that I learnt from years ago. I mean, there's a lot of good stampers that I follow now. But the original ones that I learnt from,
Links to all the ladies'
nope, a long time ago, I'm going to put down below.
description box if you could visit.
Wonderful, wonderful stampers. And they also have basic stamping videos, most of them I think. So it might be an idea to watch theirs as well, just in case I've missed anything out. Have a wee look at theirs
All I
when I link them.
today. Thank you so very much for watching. Be kind, be creative.
That splodge was my fault, it wasn't the fault with
If you enjoyed the video,
the stamper.
get to give me a thumbs up and subscribe.
Not too bad. It's not too bad at all. I think if I pick a different polish, let's go with the metallic and we'll try the same image. You don't have to, but I try to clean up as I go because then it's not as horrific a task when you finish. We all know the mess that we leave behind and it's not pretty.
Apple products, you know, to
So let's try this metallic one on that same image.
Go, KindMaster, video show. So I'm going to show you.
Come on, get off.
One thing I want
Actually, that would have been a good example to try and show you what I was talking about earlier on. Right, that doesn't want to pick up with that colour. Maybe it's the stamper. So let's try the Creative Shop one. As I say, I haven't come across an image yet that Creative Shop stamper does not pick up. So let's try that. Give that a wee dab just to make sure it's fuzz free. Okay, let's try again. And we're going to cover the whole image because it is quite small details. So maybe covering the whole image will help. Now I'm going to leave that smeary polish there to try and show you what I mean. See when you pick it up,
Look what shows up.
it won't,
It says duplicate.
because it's round the edge, it won't show on the nail when you stamp it because it's at the very edge.
One thing butted up.
So it's not a big deal if you have some excess around the edges of the images. I think that's what I was trying to say. And look at that. That's stamped beautifully.
Click on it, it's highlighted.
So again, the Creative Shop stamper is still a 100% success rate.
The same size.
So for beginners, this would be a great stamper. You just can't see where you're stamping. But for learning basic stamping images, this would be a great one. I'm trying to think where you would... I think Nail Artisan sells Creative Shop. If I find it on there, I'll link it below and I'll have a look for US suppliers as well because I don't know if Alex ships international, but I'll have a look. But yeah, it's definitely worth maybe having that till you pick up all the basics of your stamping because, as I say, it's never failed me yet. Now I want to try one of these wee flower images. one of these wee leaves, and then I want to try these. So what we're going to take off, let's take off the index finger. Because you've got that top coat on, you can just rub it with acetone and it's going to come off and it's not going to affect your manicure, which is fabulous. Okay, let's try the leaves.
So the programs that I chose.
Also, you get covered in polish for the excess down here for wiping your scraper. Well, I do, because I'm a messy bitch. No.
Open up from one go first.
No.
Create new video.
This video is going to be so long, I'm sorry. I'm not doing a voiceover, so it'd be hard to edit things out, I think, without missing out explanations, so it's going to be a long one. I is sorry, people.
Let's see what else. So we're going to hit
Right, let's try it with black. Oops.
button up here in the corner, and it will import that. Turn that down. Turned it a little dark, so I apologize.
It's a bit better.
See what happens if I add a light over here. All right, we have a little bit more light.
And it does stamp relatively well.
So what I'm doing
It's just the images aren't as crisp as what I would like. And there's bits missing, as you can see. But it does stamp. Just not with that metallic polish. This plate
and right here,
maybe doesn't like the images with metallic polish. So we're going to try doing this butterfly in this leaf.
my camera roll, and I will bring in
Take the pinky off like we did with the index finger.
with a transparent background, and there you can see it. You adjust it, rotate it,
Okay,
whatever you want to do.
so let's try this now.
On here.
One of the people that requested this video and then requested again was Tracy Potts. I'll link her below, you can go and subscribe to her. She's got some lovely designs as well. So Tracy, I hope this helps in some way, shape or form.
Hit OK.
Now that picked up really quite well.
Then I'm not
I think that one's good. Even though it's tiny wee images. There is a couple of bits missing on the butterfly, but nothing major. It's not something I would probably take off and redo. I would leave it. I'm going to try these lips because they look like they've got open space on them as well as fine detail. So I want to try them.
kind of master. I'm going to hit this button up here in the corner. Normally I would use 16 by 9.
Now that looks like it's picked up quite well.
Choose 9 by 16 for this particular one.
There we go. So it's a knockoff plate. It was cheap as chips. I think it was probably about £1 or something. And it is working. So I do have another effective stamping plate. I just need to find the right combination for some of the images to work. Okay, so I'm going to clean up all of this and then I'll be back. Okay, so we're going to go on to cleaning up. I'm going to take this latex off my finger before it starts to make me itch. Be gone. And then, as I say, you've got the bits around your fingers that you need to clean up. Sometimes, if you're quick enough and you do it straight after you've stamped, your lint roller will take off the bits that's around your nails, and you won't have to use acetone because it does. I'm going to show you the mess it makes because I purposefully left that nail there so that you could see the mess that black makes when you're cleaning up. But I managed to catch these ones, so these ones are fine. Don't know if I'll get any of these, but they're no bad anyway. The black is the main bugbear. So usually I would put my gel top coat on and then clean up, because then it doesn't matter if the acetone hits your nail, you're not going to disturb the image that you've just put on your nail. So I would normally put my gel top coat on first and then clean up. But for today, it's just 100% acetone I've got. I love this wee clean up brush. I got a pack of 5 from AliExpress and they're all different sizes. I love these. So I'm just going to take the wee bits off that are round here. It's just a normal clean up like you would do for any other nail design. You just have to make sure you don't hit your finger and take off what's on. Because if your finger slips, if your brush slips and you happen to get it, there you go. You've just ruined what you stamped. So, yeah, my advice would be to top coat. Now, another idea for clean up, which came from Tina at Moon Baby Nails, I think, or is it? I'll double check that, is putting Burt's Bees balm round her fingers, and she uses tape, and it comes off really easy because she's got the balm down first. So the stuff isn't really sticking to the skin, it's sticking to the balm, and it just comes off when she taps it with tape. So this is an example of what could happen with black. I don't know if it's going to smear and make a mess or not, but this is what could happen with black when you try to clean it up. You see how it's just smearing and getting into the cuticle and making a mess. So I really do advise protection with black polish as best as you can. Now, even though I had the latex, I didn't have it right round inside the cuticle, I had it outside my finger. And I've got dry skin on my fingers, so it's going to collect in there even more. But as I say, once you've got your gel top coat on, you can just take your cotton pad and really rub around your cuticles and get it done. Like any other mani, at the very end, make sure you put cuticle oil and hand cream on and get a good rub, because you're going to lose so much moisture with cleaning up using acetone. So make sure that whatever you do, you apply oil and or hand cream. I apply both because I'm a bit greedy. So yeah, that's my basics of stamping. If you've got anything you want to know that I haven't covered, please leave it in the comments and I will get back to you. I try to answer all my comments. So if there's something I haven't covered that you're not sure about, let me know. Other than that, that's the end of this video. Hello, this is Editing Faye. I'm not sure where I'm going to stick this in, but I forgot to show you how to do a floaty layer. Now I've removed that off my nails because I'm about to do another video, another mani. Well, maybe not a video, but I'm about to do another mani. So this is how you would do a floaty layer. Don't wipe your brush off the side on both sides, only wipe it on one so that you've got a dollop on the end. And I'll try turning it to the side so you can see I'm doing this and I'm smearing the top coat. The brush is not touching the nail. It's just literally the excess top coat that's being dragged down the nail and the brush isn't touching. So for your first coat, I would advise doing it like that. Whether it's gel polish or regular polish, I would advise doing a bit of a floaty layer over your stamping before you do your final layer. Because if it is awfully thick, you can buff it a wee bit and take it down a bit, but then at least your stamping's not been smeared. And then when you put your final top coat on, the shine will come back, so it's not an issue. So yeah, that's your floaty layer. It's not that thick, but you can see it has put a layer on the nail. So I would maybe buff that just a wee bit at the cuticle before I put my final top coat on. But my stamping would be intact. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to give a wee shout out to Chase, just because I want to. And I'm going to be shouting out people in my videos more often. So today it's Chase, as in Nail Hobbyist over on Instagram. I will link him below. Hi Chase! And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!